Hello, this is Alexander Boswell coming at you May 30th, 2025 for another installment of me talking about a bunch of random stuff. This time I made some notes so that maybe I can fly through it a little quicker because I know how it is. It's like, get right to it, skippity skip, all right, click off, all that. So today we're going to be talking about Bitcoin as well as the T-Pain, DJT, if you catch my drift. Can't say a lot of words otherwise. Boop, the video goes away. The algorithms, 1984 up in here. So T-Pain, we're going to talk about Roosh. That would be Vlad to the Putin. Also Voldemort over there in Ooktown, where they make a bunch of pharma and a bunch of traffic of the little ones and a bunch of crazy nonsense over there next to Rush. If you catch that drift. Also, I cash real, as I call them, because I always spell it $RAEL. If you catch my drift over there, home of the little hat wearers and all that good stuff, the dancers. Also, what's going on in the Swiss Alps, if you've seen that news. I'm going to talk about how the heck do I know any of this stuff, and how you can go about finding real answers, or how at least I go about finding real answers, real truth. I'm going to talk about how your voice matters. We're also going to touch on this phenomenon of, I guess maybe I can say this, I'm not sure, but black fatigue, if you've seen that one. And El0n, excuse me. Yeah, I'm not going to finish it, right? So there you go. Those players and what they're up to and all that stuff. So starting off with Bitcoin, if you're one of these people who thinks that Bitcoin is this completely untraceable asset and all that, then you're absolutely crazy. And I want to tell you a quick story, an example story about my time, my life. See, when I was about 15 years old, maybe, had a friend who was no longer a friend, but they divulged to me and showed me that they are downloading very illegal things off the interwebs. And I won't divulge who it is or what it was, but I remember I had never heard of a VPN. Maybe I was younger than 15, but I feel like I was probably about 15, and we're the same age. And I remember saying, dude, he's like, no, it's all good. I've got this VPN that makes me completely anonymous, and you can't, trace my location or my IP address or anything. And I just remember saying, dude, I promise you that it can be traced. Like, trust me, you're not that smart, and it can definitely, they'll be able to, whatever the VPN is, and whoever you think you're secure, you're not. I promise you. Okay, so don't do that. Sure enough, he came back with a story about how there was all of a sudden a Dodge Charger outside his house with tinted black windows, and he stepped outside to look, and they sped off. He was like, I grabbed that external hard drive, went and burned it with lighter fluid in my driveway, and that was that. I never did any of that stuff again. So there you go. Same thing with Bitcoin. Go lay down. Sorry, Poochie she heard me getting all riled up and wanted to have a pet. So that's the deal with Bitcoin as well. I probably can't even say this word because I'm like, oh, you can't talk about anything. You're not allowed to talk about anything but puppies and kittens and what you ate for breakfast and stuff online. Otherwise, too real. Got to strike the video down. Same thing with Bitcoin. Don't fool yourself. Don't act like. Don't think that this is totally. Also, it's completely. There's a backdoor into Bitcoin. The three-letter agency is why every time I put my hand in front of this light, it changes my lighting. But anyway, backdoor into Bitcoin. The whole point of Bitcoin is a big pump and dump, and also to monitor people, monitor what they're spending. If you think you can buy drugs and stuff, you're absolutely insane. You don't think that can be tracked, just give it up, dude. Are you kidding me? an electronic currency and you think it's untraceable? How dumb can you be? Same thing with this idea that the price is not set artificially. Same with the stock market. There's a backdoor into that. They can adjust the price. And what they do is basically, after a bunch of retail investors hand over their cash, they slam the price down, and gone is your actual money that they wanted. So way to go on that one. If you want to play in it, treat it like gambling. But right now it's at all-time highs, so I would definitely not buy right now. If you were going to buy, you needed to go ahead and buy it before. Maybe wait for it to slam down and then buy some, but don't go all in on it. Don't be crazy. Yeah. So if you want to buy something to preserve your wealth, precious metals, silver and gold, can't go wrong. Next, we're going to hit on DJT's rhetoric. Look, I'm pretty sure at this point that DJT is not long for this world because of the amount of insane shaking up that he's doing. I mean, just out of control, completely lost the script, off the reservation, here one day, there the next. And, I have been blaming this on the fact that I believe there are two DJTs. One is the real one, one's the fake one. One's controlled by the white hats, one kind of is the white hats and controls the white hats. And one is controlled by the black hats, kind of like a body double, if you will, wearing a rubber mask. Yes, they exist, of course. Go look up the technology. Oh my gosh, it's so easy. I mean, it's literally like very realistic skin masks and stuff. Don't fool yourself that that's not possible. And then they can have like a voice changing box and all the rest of it. But if that's the case, then why doesn't he come out and disavow the other one and say, there's this other thing? I mean, I know that would kind of shock people and stuff, but at the same time, clarify that, no, I don't believe, that we need to be attacking Vlad Poot over there in Rush, or so many things. I mean, that, time to line up for another round of jabberdoos and all the rest of it. He needs to come out and say, no, I don't believe it. Or, that's not true. And then it would make no sense to people. And they would say, well, which is it? I don't know. It's just like, come out and disavow the other one. Anyway, all the moves he's made, I would be willing to put money that he's not going to be in his current position past 2025. So look for that. And, this is me. I wear a MAGA hat every day. Why? Because, well, first of all, it's the only couple of hats that I have right now because I've lost all the other ones, of course. But just as the white hats hijacked the GOP, well, guess what? We're taking MAGA away from you, Mr. DJT. We're not having that. We're going to put Colonel Douglas McGregor in charge. Go look him up. Not Vance. No. Colonel Douglas McGregor, where he's going to be our leader, and we're hijacking MAGA straight from you, buddy. Sorry. You're too crazy. You're too unhinged. And this is coming from somebody who people say is crazy and unhinged. All right? So you really screwed up. What's going on? So he says this thing, too, about Rush, about Limbaugh, about Vlad over there, where, what are you going to do about it? I mean, they're at war with Uketown, and of course people unalive during a war, so, what do you want? You're not, get over it. Rush is going to take back basically all their territory in Uketown, and then Poland might get some. Poland might get the Polish side of Uki, where there's a lot of Polish-speaking people in that area. But the whole Ook, it's not going to even exist after a while. And by the way, they suspended elections, so he's an unelected dictator right now. And he's absolutely a snorter. That's been proven. There's literally a video of him with a giant pile of it sitting on his desk. They claim it's AI. No, it's not AI. The guy, obviously, he acts crazy. It's obvious if you have any idea what to look for, okay? And if you're just watching the mainstream media, just give it up. Go do some research on your own, okay? So, Uketown, yeah, Z-Boy's definitely going to be gone. Voldemort. That's literally how his name is spelled. Voldemir. Okay, just, come on. Z-Boy, El0n Moosk. Not long for this world. He'll definitely be gone. And you know what? So will Poot Poot over there. They're all going to be gone, okay? Trust me, I promise you. They're all going to be gone because this whole thing, this whole shooting nukes at each other, shooting missiles at each other, can't go on. We, the people, are not going to allow this to continue, okay? And that's a mofo and guarantee. I'll tell you right now. We're putting a stop to all this war and everything. We're going to eliminate the last of the outfits here, and that's going to get on to the Swiss Alps talk. But same with BB over there in Little Hat Wearingville. He's toast. He's out. That whole thing is going to get wrapped up. We're going to do targeted strikes on Tel Aviv and goodbye. Swiss Alps, crumbling mountains, everything. Notice how it's pretty close to Lake Geneva. Well, if that's a destabilized glacier mountain thing close to Lake Geneva is another one where we're going to do and take out a bunch of underground layers over there. So that's probably what's happening right now. So apologies to Blatten, but you know, what an interesting and precarious place to make a town, to be honest. So sorry, 300 people there, a couple hundred more and all this stuff. We have to take out evil supervillains. So you might want to go live with some relatives. I mean, I know that's not exactly easy. I would hate to hear that, that I had to evacuate my town. I'd be like, well, I'm homeless. But you have to figure it out. I feel like Switzerland has the money to relocate some people. They're a pretty rich nation. We're not talking about the Congo here. So put them up in a hostel, put them up in a, you know, whatever. Build them a new town. It's a small town. I mean, I sound so like disrespectful right now, but literally these are Dr. Evil supervillain types holed up in their lairs around Lake Geneva. They all need to be eliminated. So that's what we're doing. Goodbye. Bye-bye, evil supervillains. Bye-bye. Finding real answers. How do I know all this stuff? How do I claim to know all this stuff? Well, I don't. But my whole life, I have had a knack for knowing who to listen to and knowing by the way they talk, by the way they explain things, by the way they don't gloss over stuff and say, oh, just trust me. And, you know, they don't have just a veneer smile about it all. And I know who is shooting me straight. So that's how. And you're going to have to realize that, kind of how to do that. But I've always been somebody who will not move on with a that's good enough explanation. No, I want to know exactly. So slow down on this part. What about that? That's why I'm so knowledgeable about cars, and why I occasionally make the LinkedIn post about cars is to bring it back to reality and remind everybody I actually know the nitty-gritties, the technicals, and I don't move on from a subject until I've had it properly explained to me, and I'm not going to believe you if you can't properly explain it to me. So it's the same thing when your mechanic goes, look, this is what's wrong. It's too complicated for me to explain. Trust me, I need $1,000. Don't ever go ahead with that kind of mechanic. If they can't properly make you understand what's going on, then bring your money elsewhere. I'm at 13 minutes, 47 seconds. We're going to fly through all this. Your voice matters. Don't forget that. You think you're just a little drop in the bucket? No, I am just a drop in the bucket. But I've had the governor view my profile, his office view my profile, the leader of the P3 Freemasons viewed my profile on LinkedIn because I'm calling them out. I'm absolutely making stirs. People see this. People see it. Okay, it makes a difference. 14-15. Here we go. Black fatigue. Yeah, stupidity. Like, you know, a whole culture based on, yeah, bro, yeah. It's over. Give it up. Look, not every black person acts like that, okay? So it's time to give that up. We don't need to be praising and bowing down to that type of culture that glorifies stupidity, okay? We're done. E to the M, Mr. Moosk. He is a leader of part of the Pentagon. What he did with the Doge thing is he went and plugged in his Wi-Fi, got all of our financial data so that he could build Grok. End of story. He's not to be trusted. He's pretty much a black hat, gray hat, kind of in between, not to be trusted. Thank you very much for 15 minutes. Bye-bye.